Cassiopeia, The Iron Throne of Osiris, by William Glyn Jones. The Egyptian interest in the circumpolar region of the sky provides us with some interesting precedents for some Greek constellations. The northern circumpolar constellation that the Greeks envisaged as the throne of Cassiopeia looks a lot like the throne of Osiris. But the throne of Osiris was in the sky is made clear in utterance 483 of the Pyramid text, where it says, "May you remove yourself to the sky upon your iron throne." And also in utterance 506, "O men and gods, your arms under me, lift me up, raise me up to the sky, just as the arms of Shu are under the sky when he raises it, to the sky, to the sky, to the great throne among the gods." Furthermore, it is implied in the Pyramid text that the throne is located in the northern sky, where the mooring post is, and where it is recognized by Egyptology as the celestial pole. The great mooring post or the mooring post calls to you, "May you remove yourself upon your throne, may you cross the great lake, may your face be cleansed in the north of the sky." And in utterance 509, bearing in mind that the imperishable stars were, as Egyptologists agree, stars around the pole of the sky in the north, "I ascend to the sky amongst the imperishable stars. My sister is Sothis, my guide is the morning star, and they grasp my hand at the fields of offerings. I sit in this iron throne of mine." New Kingdom illustrations seem to confirm that the throne is a constellation near the northern pole of the sky. It is shown next to a pool of water, with a lotus growing out of it, and with 4 sons of Horus standing by it. The sons of Horus are identified with the imperishable stars, those in the north, and probably more specifically, it is thought that the 4 stars that form the bowl of the circumpolar Big Dipper, which are also written in the Pyramid text. Back in the Pyramid text, these 4 sons travelled to the circumpolar region to fetch cool water and bring it back to the pharaoh. We can reason that this is from the same pool shown next to the throne. The animated wing eye that we see fanning Osiris on his throne probably represents the cool winds that were thought to emanate from this place in the north. Osiris was shown on this throne in the scenes of the Hall of Judgment, which also show the great scales of thought, used for weighing the heart. And we would not be the first if we were to argue that these scales are Libra, the Libra constellation. Further confirmation that the constellations of the throne of Osiris is Cassiopeia, and it comes from other figures we see placed around the throne in the Osiris in the Hall of Judgment scenes. Namely, there is a hippopotamus goddess and a bull's foreleg. There is ample and conclusive evidence that both of these were constellations of the northern sky, the circumpolar region. As regards the bull's forelegs, there is so much evidence that I need not even talk about it here. It is universally accepted by Egyptologists as being the Big Dipper, the plough, Arthur's wheel, the Great Wain. Let me have a look now. Yes, I think, here we go. Look at this. We see a bull's thigh on an offering table before the enthroned Osiris. Need I say more? Anubis here, sitting steady in the plumb line, the bob as he turns his gaze towards the circumpolar stars of Mescu, the bull's foreleg, the plough, the Big Dipper, and the throne of Cassiopeia. We also see the hippopotamus goddess standing before the enthroned Osiris in similar scenes as shown here. Circumpolar Leona Hippo, the goddess standing before the throne of Osiris. Hippo. We see her as a Leono half hippo, half crocodile, or as a hippo with a crocodile standing on her shoulders. Once again, as I mentioned briefly earlier, this is accepted by most Egyptologists as being a constellation of the northern circumpolar region. Indeed, there are Egyptian texts that state this as much. The Book of Day and Night tells us this. The foreleg of Set is in the northern sky, tied down to 2 mooring posts by a golden chain. It is entrusted to Isis as a hippopotamus guarding it. Generally, the Hippo constellation is thought to overlap the classical Draco constellation, although evidence for both these constellations goes back much earlier. A late image is interesting because of how it ties them together in a unified image that also integrates long-standing Egyptian constellations with the classical Greek and other constellations which we are all more familiar with. This is because it was made Greco-Roman during that period. It is thus the Rosetta Stone of Egyptian constellations. It is the Dendera zodiac. In it, we see at the centre of the circle of the northern sky the Hippo goddess, next to the enthroned Cassiopeia constellation, and the bullfrog's forelegs and the scales. The similarity to the much earlier Hall of Judgment scenes is therefore very striking, and so we are able to say with considerable confidence that the idea that Cassiopeia was and is the throne, and that Libra was a set of scales moved between Egypt and Greece, is quite evident. Now, the hippo, we'll go back there. This part where Cassiopeia sits is over the north, as it says, the north of Britain, which is the east coast of Scotland. And the east coast of Scotland is where the mooring post is, east coast and central Scotland, to the north, up towards Culloden, basically. And that whole area, between that area, is sort of the mooring post to the north. And the reason why is because the plough, Arthur's wheel, the Great Wain, moves over there. So in order to get through to Arthur's Wain, the Great Plough, for this journey of Osiris, he had to first go through the pool, the healing pool, which was guarded by a hippopotamus. And the hippopotamus represents the back of the head, the hippocampus. Libra represents the balance of all things, and the hippocampus is where the oil rises up. So you have Osiris and Isis, male and female, the god and the emotion, the logic, the logos, the word, the man, the son of God, which is represented by Osiris, the sun, and Isis is represented by the moon, and they move over, or under, I should say, under the Great Bear, under Arthur's wheel. And what we're seeing here is the journey in Egyptology, and also within the Greek stories. What we're actually seeing here is the journey through heavens. To the Greeks, you had to pass through the Field of Dreams and move on up into Cassiopeia to the throne, and then into the house of the great king, which was Cephas. And the Greek word for Cephas is Peter, of course, which is Peter's pearly gates. So you had to enter into Peter's pearly gates, which of course is the area of Mary Kuta, Peter Kuta. It's in the words there, Peter, Mary, maritime water. So the area of Peter Kuta, Mary Kuta, is the area of the king's throne, also the water, or the king's wells, which in that area you do have the king's wells. I'm talking about the area of the northern part of Britain, the northeast of Scotland, just south of Aberdeen, Stonehaven, Portlethen, Balmoral, Braemar, all that sort of area there. Cephas sits over that area, and that is the Great Pool. Also, on maps that I have, and I'll put these maps in, the maps show that the area known as Cephas, or the House of Cephas, is also known as the place of the Abzu, or Cheops, which is what the three pyramids at Giza were designed to. Cheops, and anybody who follows the work of Andrew Collins will know that the journey of Osiris and the gods did not end in Orion's belt with the 3 stars of Orion's belt, but the journey ended in the 3 stars of Cygnus the Swan, and the journey to the afterlife to the Egyptians and to the Greeks was a projection through Orion's belt, which is Osiris, into Aries, the Lamb of God, the Golden Fleece, up through Andromeda into the House of Cassiopeia, which is receiving of your balance of male and female, sitting under the Great King, balanced completely into the waters, cleansed, and then passed through into Arthur's Wheel, the Great Wheel in the Sky. Because even as I've read here, Cassiopeia, the Iron Throne of Osiris, even in this text by, well written, not too well read by me, but it was well written by William Glyn Jones, and that's How Curious website. How Curious, it's a WordPress, but if you type in Cassiopeia, the Iron Throne of Osiris, and William Glyn, Glyn Jones, the Egyptian interests, Cassiopeia. So, you know, he said here that both the Greeks and the Egyptians are telling the same story. It's the journey through the heavens, the same story that I've been telling people for a few years now. It's all mapped in the heavens, and actually what we call mythology is actually the history of the gods and the history of the Elohim, the history of those who fell and those who are being redeemed. So, yep, all good. They're all written in the stars, in the 13 houses.